He was an electorate sensation with his unconventional agenda to legalize marijuana, but came a distant third in the 2022 polls. He is adamant that he will be on the ballot in the 2027 polls. Our guest tonight on the program is Roots Party's Professor George Wajakoya. We debate the state of the nation through his eyes. How realistic is his second stab at the house on the hill? But first, these are the stories making headlines tonight. Tonight, protests, questions.
National Police Service owes Kenyans an explanation on why Albert Ojwang was handled with such animosity that he's met his death.
But who killed the influencer Albert Ojwang? The question yet to be answered as police officers who are at work at the Central Police Station in Nairobi are interdicted.
If any one of them is found to have committed an offense, then so be it. The law will deal with it.
IG Kanja says his deputy Eliud Langat is a complainant in the case. Also tonight, back in Homa Bay, the family of Albert Ojwang has more questions than answers.
Kijana hakugongesha kichwa, hakuwa mgonjwa, hakuwa na ugonjwa kifafa. Ni nini ilifanya kijana akakufa? Watuambie.
This as they mourn their young, ambitious and promising son. Plus, former Kamkunji boss denies police involvement in the murder of protesters, among them Rex Masai, during the anti-finance bill protests last year. And governors now want the Kenya Roads Board to respect a High Court ruling that allowed counties to get the roads maintenance levy fund. Catherine Simaloi is our sign language interpreter. Good evening. I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, has revealed that his Deputy Inspector General, Eliud Langat, of the Kenya Police Service, is the complainant behind the arrest of the now deceased Albert Ojwang over false publication. And as Samira Mohammed now reports, IG Kanja said that following Ojwang's mysterious death, he issued the order to interdict the officers commanding the station at Nairobi's Central Police Station, as well as all officers who were on duty on that fateful night Albert passed on.
Following mounting public pressure and outcry, the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, has made startling revelation about the circumstances leading to the arrest of Albert Ojwang. IG Kanja on Monday revealed that the controversial arrest was initiated following a formal complaint by Deputy Inspector General of Kenya Police Service, Eliud Langat, who alleged that Ojwang's social media posts were damaging his reputation.
There was a complaint that had been launched by the DIG KPS about his name being tarnished. So it is on that basis that investigations were actually being carried out, because he also have got a right to be.
Albert Ojwang, a teacher based in Voi and a resident of Kakot village in Homa Bay County, was arrested on Saturday afternoon at his parents' home before being transferred approximately 400 kilometers from Homa Bay to Nairobi Central Police Station, where he died under disputed circumstances.
Albert Omodo Ojwang was arrested in Homa Bay County by DCI detectives for the offense of false publication. Records indicate that he was transported to Nairobi, where he was questioned by officers from the DCI headquarters on Saturday.
Following the unclear circumstances surrounding Ojwang's death, Police IG Douglas Kanja ordered the immediate interdiction of several officers linked to the incident, including the officer commanding Central Police Station, the duty officers on the night in question, the cell sentry on duty, all officers at the report office that night, and any other found to be involved for a transparent investigations.
To ensure a thorough, impartial, and expeditious investigations by the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, I ordered the interdiction of the following officers with immediate effects. Number one is the officer commanding the station, that is the Central Police Station OCS, the duty officer who was on duty during the night in question, the cell sentry on duty at the time, all officers who were on duty at the report office that night, and any other officer found to have been on duty or otherwise involved during the incident.
These, as the Independent Policing Oversight Authority Chairperson Isaac Hassan stated that a probe is underway and investigative teams have already visited the crime scene. Highlighting how distressing the emotional narration of Ojwang's father was, Hassan has vowed to ensure that justice will be served to the deceased family.
And so from last night we had already commenced the investigations. We have dispatched our team here. They have come here last night. They are still here today. They have visited the scene. I want to assure him and members of the public that IPOA will do everything possible to ensure that justice is served for the family.
The autopsy of the body of Albert Ojwang was Monday afternoon postponed to Tuesday morning following poor lighting at the city mortuary. According to government's pathologist Dr. Caroline Jero, she could not conduct the autopsy without adequate natural light. Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Now, public pressure now mounts for expedited and impartial investigations into the mysterious death of Albert Ojwang, who died under police custody. The death of Albert has sparked outrage online as protesters stormed the streets and the Central Police Station, demanding for justice and answers as to what really transpired in the last 24 hours that Albert was detained at the Central Police Station here in Nairobi. Sheila Chelanga tonight reports that the Director of Public Prosecutions now claims that there was no evidence to arrest another blogger, Kelvin Moinde.
The mysterious death of influencer Albert Ojwang under police custody continues to draw a lot of public outrage online.
Ojwang! Justice for Ojwang!
On the streets Monday, there was anger and confusion amongst these protesters over the circumstances leading to the death of Ojwang. And for some hours, traffic was disrupted at this roundabout near the Nairobi funeral home.
Whom did he violate? If it's a false publication, against who? And where is his Twitter handle? We have checked for the Twitter handle of Ojwang. It is not there. The Facebook account is gone.
Amongst the issues raising eyebrows over this sudden death is the manner of Ojwang's arrest, detention and death. Earlier reports from the police indicated that less than 24 hours after his arrest, during a routine inspection of the cells at Central Police Station, Ojwang was found unconscious, a narrative that has been met with widespread skepticism and condemnation.
We're not able to understand why we are being told that he was being held in isolation and why we are being told that he hit his head against the wall and succumbed as a result of that.
Following this, public pressure now mounts for thorough and impartial investigations into the matter.
Does it mean that Homa Bay Aina police station, does it mean that they don't have courts over there?
The people who are behind this are known. The reason why Ojwang was arrested is known, and we want serious action taken.
Political leaders from across the political divide have called for speedy investigations into the death.
They must make sure that those officers are quickly brought to book and the deceased gets justice.
Go to the bottom of why Ojwang was arrested, taken to the cell, walking and looking healthy, and the next day he was no more.
To make sure that anybody who may have caused that death is brought to book without favor and without fear.
Meanwhile, in the case of Calvin Moinde, who was also arrested in Kisii and transported for custody at the Kamukunji police station, Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has acknowledged receipt of the inquiry investigation file on him. However, it says that upon perusal, it is satisfied that there is no sufficient evidence to charge Mr. Calvin Moinde. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Now, grief and disbelief continues to choke Kokwenyo village after the mysterious murder of influencer Albert Omondi Ojwang in what is believed to be in the hands of police officers. His family in Homa Bay County continues to ask questions with little answers. Linda Alela tells us more.
A somber mood clouds this homestead of the parents of influencer Albert Ojwang in Kokwanyo village, Homa Bay County. Mourners throng in to condole with the family. Cries of a heartbroken wife, mother and father fill the air.
Bwana Sigei na Bwana Rapudo. Hao wengine hawakutaja majina yao. Waliwahakikishia msiwe na wasiwasi, kijana yuko salama mikononi mwetu. Hivi leo tunazungumzia ambaye alikuwa tumehakikishiwa yuko salama mikononi mwa serikali, mikononi mwa DCI, polisi. Kulitokea nini Nairobi? Bana, habari tunayopata ni kwamba tunaambiwa kijana aliyetoka nyumbani buheri wa afya, hakuwa na homa hata kidogo.
Mourners visiting and some staring at a 3-day-old nursery seedbed that the environmental enthusiast had recently set up, a silent reminder of a man who loved nature and worked to better his community. Heavy questions to the government from a family struggling to come to terms with the sudden loss of their only son.
Sababu waliotoa, na kama kweli ama si kweli hatujui, maana tulingojea tupati huo kweli kupitia kwa koti, ni kwamba inatuhumiwa kijana alitoa nukulishi ama aliandika taarifa fulani katika mtandao wa X.
The family pleads with authorities to speedily investigate the incident and bring those responsible to book. The silence from official channels deepened the family's pain and triggered protests from activists and lovers of justice across the country.
Mbona hatukuwahi kupata hata ripoti siku moja kwamba Omondi has been summoned by the DCI kujibu mashtaka ya jinai?
Ni msomi, sio mtu ambaye akusoma. Kama ni mtu ambao ni ako na tabia nyingine kwenye ukoo ama area, watu wanaweza kusema huyo mtoto alikuwa mkoa.
Kokwanyo village mourns not just a son, a scholar, a teacher, an environmentalist, but a kind, soft-spoken soul who was whisked away from his lunch table and taken to Mawego police station before being transferred to Nairobi, where he tragically met his death on Saturday. Linda Alela, TV47.
Thank you, Linda Alela, for that. Quite a grieving family in Homa Bay County. Let's get the quick thoughts of our guest tonight, Professor George Wajakoya, 2022 presidential candidate. We will talk of the politics later on, but he's equally a former police officer who served coincidentally at that police station, Central Police Station. Prof, as a presidential candidate, a leading political figure in the country, your comments on that?
Thank you very much, and I'm very glad to see you back. Now I can smile. First of all, I'm so sad. It's very heartening. I did call Mr. Kanja before I came here to speak with him on a friendly basis. And what I can say at the moment, now that I've seen the news that I didn't see before, that the complainant was Mr. Lagat, what we need to know is this. Number one, why is Lagat still attending press conferences if he knows he's a complainant? Is he attending a press conference when he knows that the cause of death of this person has come as a result of his complaint? Number two, Lagat should be suspended with immediate effect to go home until the inquiry is done. Number three, the officers who went to Homa Bay, if they were from the DCI, their names should be made public, and they should equally be suspended with immediate effect. And number four, the manner in which he was arrested, whether the law was followed, whether there was a probable cause, whether there was a complaint. There are police stations in Homa Bay where he ought to have been taken and been processed, because courts in Homa Bay have jurisdiction over this matter.
Prof, I asked you that question. On one front, that you are a former police officer, on the other, you are a professor of law. Ideally, when one is arrested in a situation like this, in a place far away from the city, are there legal provisions that allow that person arrested to be transported to Nairobi?
First of all, we have what we call Miranda rights. Miranda is a case which went to the House of Lords in the United States in 1965, where he was arrested, taken to court without his rights being read to him. And also, there was no probable cause as to why he was being arrested. He did not have a right to, he was not even given his right to counsel. So in this case, if the complainant was Mr. Lagat, did he actually book that in the OB? We need to see that OB, because he was the complainant.
The occurrence book.
Did he write a statement to that effect? We need to see that statement. Did he have evidence? We need to see that evidence. And then, was this gentleman, the late, accorded his constitutional rights? Was he told why he was being arrested? Was he afforded the right to have a lawyer present? And why was he arrested and driven for so long and then found dead? I worked in Central Police Station. That was my first duty, station of duty, when I came from Kiganja as a constable, and I was actually given the first sentry duties. Have they suspended the wrong people?
Prof, police are hinting of a case of suicide. You don't
I don't
believe
think
that,
so.
do you?
I don't believe. I just finished my doctorate in criminal justice, and I'm graduating next month in Tampa, Florida. I've done this course full-time for 6 months, and I don't see why they should come up and say that it's suicide. How? Who was there? If the person said it was suicide before the autopsy, then let us find out whether he killed himself. He was able to bang his head on the wall and then kill himself. Can you bang your head until you die?
Prof, we have a lot to discuss in terms of the country's current status, and we'll come to that later on in this broadcast. But one final question just on this. If you are the president tonight and you see that story on air, what would you do?
I'll suspend everybody in the police.
Everybody, you mean the high-ranking or all?
Yes, the people responsible. I will not suspend Kanja in this case, because I don't think whether Kanja sent his deputy to complain. It also took him by surprise. That's as far as I'm concerned. But there is artistic expression, which is part of freedoms, which are fundamental. When you artistically express yourself, you are airing up what is actually within the conscience of the preamble of the Constitution. Why should a policeman of that high ranking come out and complain against a Kenyan who has expressed himself constitutionally? I will sack him, and then if it was in the US, this man would be charged with second-degree murder. And what I want to see is, I want to find out how this investigation is going, And if I was to be the president, obviously it will not reach where it has reached. I would have put the man in jail pending investigation so that he doesn't tamper with evidence. And that's what we can see now.
Fair enough, Prof. We have a lot to discuss. Let's get to other stories. We'll come back to the interview to talk of the country's current status, politically, economically, and Professor Wajakoya's second stab at the presidential poll in 2027. Now, the former police commanding officer stationed in Kamkunji Police Station, Chief Inspector Robert Mugo, has denied any police involvement in the murder of Rex Masai, the 29-year-old who was gunned down during the anti-finance bill protest in June last year. Mugo, who was testifying in the ongoing inquest into Masai's murder, told the court that between June 18th to June 25th, his unit was tasked with maintaining order in the Lower Central Business District. He explained that out of the 300 police officers in Kamkunji Police Station, only a few were assigned in the Lower Central Business District and none was in civilian clothing. Mugo consistently maintained that the demonstrations in that area, in his area of jurisdiction, were not peaceful, but rather violent and criminal in nature. The inquest continues with more testimonies expected from witnesses as the court seeks to uncover the truth surrounding the events of June 2024.
There were riots within town, which were brought about by the finance bill. Specifically, ours was to quell the riots and manage demonstrators. I was deployed at Rua CPD, that is my area of jurisdiction. And Rua CPD, we were dealing with routers, not demonstrators per se.
You were dealing with routers?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that is Rua CPD where?
Rua CPD covers from Ave Center, Ronangara, Rudhuri, Nyamakema, areas of Gikomba, Mudhurwa, and parts of Ngara, Yon.
Moving on, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki has called on Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka to join the broad-based government to ensure that the Kamba nation is in the government. Kindiki spoke in Kitui, where he led Kenya Kwanza government leaders in pointing out remarks by the opposition team, urging them to stop the politics of tribalism. Meanwhile, in Kikuyu constituency, Ruto's allies hit out at former Deputy President and DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, accusing him of fueling tribal divisions.
Hapa Wakamba ni one term ama ni two term? Wacha niulize tena, Kitui Central na Kitui na Ukambani ni one term ama ni two term? Ni one term ama ni two term?
Yule mtu ni bure sana, ni bure si bure. Anajifanya sasa anashika Kalonzo. Na mimi nawaambia, nyinyi mjue serikali itaundwa na sisi na Kalonzo Musyoka, sio huyu Mkabila. Yule Mkabila hana say. Mwisho ataambia Kalonzo, leta shares, leta Wakamba wachache. Hiyo tunamwambia ati anaenda kutafuta expert. Kalonzo ameng'ang'ania na urais katika Kenya. Yeye hata hajawahi omba sub chief. Yeye ni kupatiwa na patiwa. Huyo mtu hawezi kuongoza mtu. Mtu amefukuzwa bunge. Huyo mtu ataongoza Kenya? Amewahi kufika hapa Kitui? Amefika kufanyia maendeleo watu?
Now, he was an electorate sensation with his unconventional agenda to legalize marijuana, but came a distant third in the 2022 polls. He is adamant that he will be on the ballot in the 2027 polls. Our guest tonight on the program is Roots Party's Professor Wajakoya. We debate the state of the nation through his eyes. How realistic is his second stab at the House on the Hill? Talk to us, and as a message on 22047. The hashtag to use is TV47 News. Prof, thank you for making time for us tonight. We got your quick comments, of course, on the state of policing in the country following the stories we aired. Let's get to our discussion tonight, Prof. In the 2022 polls, you, alongside your running mate, managed to scoop 61,969 votes, accounting to 0.44% of the votes. How realistic are you to make a second stab with those numbers?
Let me first of all trace your steps on the statement that you have made. We had 2.8 million votes, not 61,000 votes.
This is what IEBC...
IEBC, of course, with the stolen votes, what is coming out from the likes of Malala, that the vote was stolen, it actually confirms what I've just said. We got more votes than what was reflected, but we've gone beyond that story. We don't want to go in.
And we will move from that, Prof.
Yes.
When you say we got 2-point-something million votes, yet IEBC declares little shy of 70,000, where do you get those numbers from?
Well, I've been given by reliable sources from various embassies who are actually within, yes.
And Prof, looking back at the 2022 polls, just reflectively, where do you think you would have done better?
I think I did better, not that I would have done better. I did the best, and I'm going to do better, and I'm going to surprise these people. That's why I've decided to go it alone, without getting into the groupings that I can see which have gone mayhem. I've seen teams now going around, instead of telling us issues, giving us issue-based policies, they have just put one denominator in their mouth, and that is Ruto. In the morning is Ruto, breakfast, Ruto, tea time at 10, Ruto, lunch time, Ruto. But they are not telling us what policies they have and issues that you're going to tackle. That's why I'm going to defeat all of them.
And observedly, that team you are making reference to is a team that refers itself to as the People's Opposition. We will come to that, Prof. Post the election, we saw you in several instances and in rallies with Raila Odinga, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. You seemingly supported the NADCO process. Did Roots at any point join Azimio then?
We have never been members of any affiliation. We are just friends of Azimio. And my role in Azimio, which newspapers and media people and what have you do not want to look into, I'm the one actually who was one of the architects of the ongoing revolution by then, those mandamanos, with my experiences, the experiences that I've gone through while I was out of the country. I led those, I gave the idea, Raila backed me, and we did what we did. Yes.
But Roots Party did not, with definitive answer, join Azimio?
We have no intention, we are not, and we shall not join anybody. Maybe post-election, that is okay, like they do in Italy and India. But this issue of tribal cocoons and croppings and people saying, oh, we have our share, let's eat this, let's do this, Roots Party is not part of that.
Prof, and as a presidential candidate, you are the only one amongst the 4 presidential candidates in the 2022 polls who are not in government. Isaac Mwaura was appointed as the chair of NetFund. Raila Odinga's party has nominated cabinet members who are in government now. The president, of course, was elected in government. Were you at any given point in the last year's government reorganization in broad-based, were you approached by the president or the Kenya Kwanza government?
Well, I was approached indirectly by some governors from Rift Valley who came in through the back door, and I think I made that very clear on the media houses, some of the media houses. They came in with the usual mindset of money, the Moi era kind of standardization. They thought I was just some kind of buffoon who would be foolishly be pushed around. For example, they said they were going to offer me cabinet secretary. And then before that, another governor calls me and says, oh, we shall send you a helicopter to come to Bomet. We have a project we want you to see. Another governor calls me and says, no. We are also going to give you a piece of land in Masai Mara. They said 150 acres. And even though I cannot satisfy that they were genuine governors, but the numbers later on I found out that they were. So once I saw that, I approached my friends and I asked them, what is all this? Then I was told, yes, all they are looking for is to have a picture with you. The moment they take you there and you have a picture with so and so, they will say Wajakoya has joined. And then they
and Prof, were the governors, in your view, doing it out of their own volition, or you read as though they were working on someone's behalf?
They were sent, and when they mentioned certain names, I was like, these are the most idiotic human beings on earth. If a person like me, with all this education that I have, with all these networks that I have around the world, how can I get these illiterate people? I'm not saying illiterate per se, but people who went to school without any kind of networking in the world. Do they think that they will just call me and kill my mission and vision in Roots Party, which a lot of people are following, just because they want me to be a cabinet secretary. And then if I become a cabinet secretary, then what do I do now? I start now singing the music. I can see the likes of those who joined recently singing, oh, we are now in broad-based government, we are eating, some of them parading their girlfriends. Come on, that's not me, and I will not be. I'll run again. I'm going to run on principle, and I'm not going to be involved. But if somebody wants to talk to me, if Ruto wants to talk to me, let him pick the phone.
Has he talked to you at any instance?
No, I only spoke to him when I was telling him about the inequities that are going on recently during a funeral in Nyanza. When I told him, I said, Mr. President, so-and-so is letting your government down, and if you are being advised by this kind of fellows, then you are going nowhere. And I told him in the plain open, it doesn't mean that I hate Ruto. I don't hate him. He is the president of this country. But if he's doing wrong, I point whatever he's doing wrong, and I have no fear. Yes.
Prof, observantly again, your attitude towards the Kenya Kwanza broad-based government, and what you say, for instance, when I believe you met Raila, and this was in a funeral, I suppose, that Baba, if you did not do what you did, this country would have burned. We do not want to burn it. I want you, the president, you said, go tame Farouk and team and tell them to sit down. In your words, Prof, you seem to have a soft spot rather for the broad-based government.
Well, it was not that I had a soft spot for broad-based government. I don't like it, will never like it, will never be part of it. But what I was trying to say is that the people who are dying at that particular time were innocent people. Sons of peasants, sons of people who had been deprived of their economic and political rights, artistic expressions of the independence. So I was like, well, these people are killing kids without mercy. If Raila went in to smoothen it down and then came up with a solution of joining, that is him. What I wanted was that to stop at that particular time. It stopped, yes, and then we have to think. It didn't mean that I was trying to tell with an ulterior motive, no. But when Raila joined, that's when my clock stopped. He's my friend, but I'm not joining. And I've made this on several occasions in some of the rallies we have been. Fair. Now I can see some people around Raila coming up and saying, it's our time to eat. People are now galvanizing. They are taking their kids in this broad-based government projects. Why would you be begging for projects? Why would we be sending delegates? Same kukuns who have been there from independence, going to State House, tunaenda kutafuta vitu tulete kwetu. Why can't we be like Burkina Faso, where the president stands up and says A, B, C, D? And that's the kind of president I'm going to be.
And fair enough, we'll come to your agenda, Prof, again in the 2027 conquest. Just on that remarks, you seemingly are not satisfied with people who are around the president.
I'm not satisfied.
You told the president to tame some of the people.
I told him to tame Farouk. I can tell him again to tame Lagat, he's the Deputy Inspector General of Police, to suspend him with immediate effect, tame people like Sudi, tame others, and also Gachagua should also be tamed. Because the way Gachagua's trip is going around, some of them equating Ruto to a dog. In my opinion, that is wrong. We don't want those kind of politics whereby people are now going in. We have to abuse, we have to be tribal, we have to call ourselves cousins. Is that what Kenyans want? No. But that's on the side of Gachagua and team. What about Ruto? Ruto is also not doing what he's supposed to do. Where is the economy going? The country has gone down completely. Are we going to salvage this country? Yes. When I take over the presidency, I'll be a benevolent dictator until things are done right.
A professor of law saying he will be a dictator will be questionable, isn't it?
Yes, benevolent dictator. I don't compromise where the majority issue is concerned. When Kenyans say we want this, fine. Like now Nairobi City. Nairobi City is sinking because it was built in the swamp. My proposal is let's go and open up a new city in Isiolo. Because of Isiolo's proximity to Ethiopia, Somalia, Sudan, and Southern Corridor, we shall expand and then export agricultural produce from the mountain straight to the airport, and boom, and then plan the city. This thing is sinking down. And if I say that, is that wrong? Then I will be a dictator on that one. Parliament will also have to move away from here so that we can maybe take it to Nakuru, so that we can devolve proper devolution, like what Tanzanians have done with the Dodoma, Nigerians have done with Abuja, United States is creating new cities and what have you, so that we can actually urbanize other areas that have been having banned.
And Prof, we will discuss your agenda in details. It's time for us to take a short break. Remember, you can be part of these discussions. Send us a message on 22047. The hashtag to use is TV47 News. Time for us to take a short break. We will be back with Professor Ojwang, presidential candidate in the 2022 polls, presidential contender in the 2027 polls. Coming up after the break, economists and tax experts raise concerns over the implication of the Finance Bill 2025 and the broader economic trends shaping Kenya's fiscal landscape.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Foreke tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Foreke is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasukuru. CP unit ni
Punet. So you guys knew about
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema, Zlatan gave it the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill.
Enjoy uninterrupted
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with Kenya's fastest growing television. Let's get to more news. And the Council of Governors has now raised concerns over road maintenance levy. They are asking for respect of the High Court ruling that allowed counties to get the roads maintenance levy fund and disburse it to counties immediately. The High Court ordered that the allocation of 10.5 billion shillings to counties for the road maintenance be disbursed, saying the exclusion of the devolved units from the road maintenance levy fund was unconstitutional. Mike Agwongo with the details.
The Council of Governors Chair Ahmed Abdullahi says he has written to KRB to release the funds forthwith, stating that there was no need to continue holding the funds. Yet it is clear through the court process that resulted in the judgment made.
You know, this money is already frozen for us by the court. From where I sit, I actually believe KRA can disburse that money today. Yes. Okay, so not KRB, Kenya Roads Board, sorry. And Ken, just so you know, I have written to them today.
In a historic decision last Thursday, High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi ordered the National Assembly to release the 10.5 billion shillings allotted for roads upkeep by June 30th, 2025, granting the governors access to the funds.
Kenya Constitution 2010 has classified roads into two classes only: national trunk roads and county government roads.
What we want to urge the National Treasury is to make sure that the expedite release of these funds, because we don't want to cross the financial year with the pending bills.
Governor Abdullahi, while demanding the release of the funds, hit out at the National Assembly, saying they were in clear contravention of the Constitution in denying counties the funds, and thus they should stick to their mandate as opposed to the fighting over resources that are meant for the counties.
That if you're going to tax Kenyans at the pump, can you split the money between national government trunk roads, national trunk roads, and county government roads?
Governors also want the national government to extend the IFMIS closure period once the funds are released, so as to enable counties absorb the funds to avoid pending bills.
Because you are likely to receive this money late in the month, an extension to close the IFMIS maybe by 3 weeks in order to enable counties to absorb the funds which will be released late.
We will not ask national government what it's doing with their portion, but give us our portion. This is such a common sense matter that I'm surprised there's such a big fight over it.
Moving forward, the COG says the right to counties to maintain roads that are in their jurisdiction should not be toyed with and used as a tool to also deny counties their equitable share of national resources. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mike Kagwongo, for that report. Let's get back to our discussion. Just a reminder of who our guest is tonight, Roots Party's Professor George Wajakoya. Let's continue with our discussion. Prof, there is an emerging group of opposition leaders, Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, Eugene Wamalwa, Martha Karua. You are conspicuously missing. Do you disagree with them?
I don't disagree with what they are doing, but I'm a person non-grantor in that group, because from my experiences when we were in Azimio, apart from probably Raila and Kalonzo, most of them looked at me as a non-starter. They looked down upon me, and I can see the same group is grouping, but that is personal. But as far as I'm concerned, what I want to see them do is to talk about issues affecting the country. Issues affecting the country. What I mean by issues is, if you look at all of them, some have been in deputy president, ministers, members of parliament, the Senate, and you look at the whole platoon. They have come up with just one agenda, Ruto.
But that's what they say is the most important agenda to them, Prof.
But what have they done when they were in power? I think when I was working in the system before, I would like, and I pray, I would like that each and every individual comes out and tells Kenyans what they did while they were in the position and what they intend to do when they get into position. Then maybe I'll be satisfied and get in. But I'm so disappointed with the characters, with the type of politics that they're playing, which is no different from Ruto's politics. They are just taking another front, but if they get into power, then how would you expect a young man who was born recently to group himself as a cousin? How would you expect somebody who does not believe in tribalism to be asked, oh, you have come on the table, you are a Kisi, go and bring this number of Kisis on table. You are a Kikuyu, go and bring this number of... Are we still going back to reinvent the wheel, going into reverse psychology? Instead of looking at Kenya in 50 years to come, where will we be? And then we compare with countries like Singapore and South Korea as far as economic development is concerned, with even Burkina Faso, which was just born yesterday, which is economic oriented. We are in tribal cocoons. This time Wakikuyu wanaishi, Wakalenjin wanaishi. I'm not going to be part of that crusade. That's why I'm just praying that if they don't break up very soon, start fighting each other, some of them being bought, I'm going to face all of them and I'll defeat them.
Okay, Prof. Is that to suppose then that you are not convinced with the calls for a consolidated opposition?
What I said is, if they come up with one commonality and choose one leader, I'll be saying thank you very much. But the kind of utterances they are making is what is making me sit back and say what? I was in the US a week ago, and I saw, to my disbelief, one of those leaders equating other elected leaders as dogs. Between Ruto and the dog, which one is better? Can we stoop that low? Really?
So you're not convinced with the rhetorics of that?
No. But if they change, Kalonzo Musyoka is okay, I have no problem. Because Kalonzo is much more reasonable. And Kalonzo, if you look at his body language, he's there, he's not there. He doesn't like other people being abused. That's what I read in his mind. And I even called him and I congratulated him on that part. Please don't use that rhetoric of abusing other leaders. Even if they are bad, there are ways of doing things. If Kasongo is bad, yes, I don't like him.
To be fair, Prof, some will accuse you equally of abusing others in political rallies.
Well, there are some kind of talks, which even Raila talks that way. Even Ruto was calling me Muti Abangi in Turkana the other day. That was not abusing me. That was just like, but when you go and stoop so low and equate an elected leader to a dog, we disagree.
Fair enough. It's a season seemingly of political cousins of whose cousin, who is Wajakoya's political cousin.
That's nonsense.
Is it?
It's a total, how can I term it? Which physiology can I use? That's the most backward thing I've ever heard from a leader. You people, you are our cousins, we should vote. Come on, who are you telling? Gen Zs don't want to listen to that kind of language. They want to find out how or when they're going to be employed when they finish the university. They want to see development, infrastructure, and they do not want to see corruption. But if you are coming to tell me that now, wewe, na mimi, wewe ni cousin, I am not going to agree with that. Because I also have a group of followers who do not want to align themselves to anybody, but who believe in what I believe in. And part of what I believe in is economic emancipation, complete freedoms, if that can work. Of course, it's not easy to work. And also independence of the mind to allow people to speak in a way that other reasonable people will take it as reasonable. But now if you want now to frame people and then come out with so and so, we know Ruto is bad.
But Prof, contextually, that statement was made in an effort to vote hunt, isn't it?
That is okay. But then was it the right time? Why can't you go and talk to people in the open? My cousins, the majority of my cousins are in Uganda. Now, if I was to go that way, does it mean that I'm now trying to open up a room for tribalism? Wewe ni ndugu yangu, wewe ni Mkikuyu, wewe ni Mjaluo, mama yangu ameoa dada yako kutoka Pandei. That kind of rhetoric should be, let them speak because of freedom of expression, but people should not take those.
And if the proponent of that ideology, rather, or term of political cousins is to invite you, Prof, as one of his political cousins, would you accept?
Well, if he invites me as a Kenyan, I will go and have a cup of tea with him. If Ruto invited me today, I will not have a cup of tea, but I will speak to him because I don't know what will be in that cup of tea.
Prof, it's 1,000 days since President William Ruto was sworn into office as Kenya's 5th president. How would you sum up the president's 1,000 days in office?
He has totally failed this country. He should be honorable enough, resign, and pave way for others to take over. Yes.
Let's talk of your ambition, Prof. You are a candidate in the 2022 polls. You off-air told me you are considering vying again as president come 2027. You are convinced this time that you will win the presidency?
Yes.
And that conviction comes from where, Prof?
From what I know that I cannot disclose.
Predictably votes?
I will win the presidency in this country. Let me campaign the way I'm doing. I'm going to win. Because I can see that most Kenyans want change and they need total change, and I'm that change. Because one, I don't have a history of corruption. My language has been very clear. I speak openly. I've stayed in other parts of the world and seen the way things are done. I would like to ask Kenyans to judge me by seeing me as a person, seeing what I did without even a penny in the last elections, and let them vote for change. But one thing I have to caution Kenyans, that I will be a benevolent dictator. So if they want to elect a dictator who will make things right, yes, I will be.
And where will you draw the line of being a benevolent dictator and a brutal dictator?
Well, there is brutal dictatorship. That's what we are seeing right now, where people are being arrested and thrown in jail. Not arrested, abducted, contrary to the laws that we made, contrary to the preamble that we have in the Constitution. But I will talk, and we shall talk with other Kenyans to talk the economic way and freedoms to accompany the economic way. Look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. People in Burkina Faso are loving their president because of what he's doing. But I also check on the West. All the problems we have here, unless we speak, look at the foreign troops in this country, even though I didn't want to go that direction. What are the British forces doing in this country? What are the American forces doing in this country? I will ask them to leave.
Prof, a number of times in this interview you have referenced Burkina Faso. That was a military coup, a young man who came to power through a military coup. What lessons are you learning from Burkina Faso?
We are learning integrity, we are learning honesty, and we are learning the togetherness and the spirit that this young man has inserted in the people of Burkina Faso, which has also spread across the Sahel nations, telling of the West that it's time for them to pack and go. Because if anyone came here to tell you that he wants to run for president, ask them about why do we have foreign troops in this country, and why do we have foreign companies coming here to manage our resources. That's one thing people are very scared of speaking, but I will tell the Americans and the British that, you know what, we can stand on our own, and please give us time, give us a break. Na tuendelee na mambo yetu sisi wenyewe.
Prof, finally, because of the interest of time, in the 2022 polls, one of your agenda, rather what you were branded, was the legalization of marijuana. I was looking at numbers. The Kansas City Federal Reserve study on cannabis legalization found that post-legalization, the average state income grew by 3%, house prices by 6%, and funny enough, population by 2%. Do you still want to legalize marijuana, Prof?
Yes. If I told you we had legalized hemp, had I become the president, let me start it that way. Right now, we would have paid off our debts. Because hemp is the new economic world order today. If you go to Canadian Stock Exchange today, you go to New York Stock Exchange, and the Toronto Stock Exchange, you'll find out that 50 kg of hemp is $302 million. Now, if we could have taken Galana, and I'm told that Galana is now gone, and grown a prototype kind of project, right now would have paid off the Chinese, would have paid off all these debts, and Kenyans would be rich. Because hemp comes in so many ways. So the plain manufacturing today, they are manufacturing some plain parts from fiber, which comes from hemp. There is a medicinal value of it, and there is hemp construction. Taiwan now has banned cement construction or stone construction, and now they are building roads, bitumen roads. India is building roads made out of fiber. The drones that were sent in Russia the other day to devastate what the Kremlin walls, they were actually made out of hemp, fiber from hemp. So I don't see the big fuss of people saying that, oh, what it was smoking. No, it was not the smoking aspect, part of it that I was talking about. It was the commercial value, part of it.
And you're adamant that should Kenyans elect you in 2027, you will legalize marijuana?
Yes, in fact, we are really delaying. Zimbabwe has legalized, South Africa has legalized, Uganda has legalized, Rwanda has legalized, DRC is legalizing. It's only us who have this myopic of staying into some faith-based groups that think that You grow this, watoto wetu wataharibika. Saizi na tena watoto wa matajiri ndio wanaharibika when they, yeah, so mine is for economic.
An industrial use.
An industrial use, yes.
Okay, Prof, thank you for your time tonight on TV47.
Thank you.
And you're always welcome to this program and the many programs as we educate, entertain our audiences on Kenya's latest political happenings. Let's get to the world of business now. Let's count the cost and get to the world of business, and economists and tax experts gathered for the PFK pre-budget briefing in Nairobi, where they dissected the implication of the Finance Bill 2025 and broader economic trends shaping Kenya's fiscal landscape. The event, hosted by PKF Eastern Africa, provided a platform for stakeholders to analyze the proposed tax amendments and their potential impact on businesses and individuals. Key discussions covered a wide range of topics, including tax reforms, economic growth, projections, global trade impacts, budget priorities, and tax measures.
There have been a lot of efforts that have gone towards expansion of the tax base. There was a lot of focus on the real estate sector through the monthly rental income tax initiatives, the blockchain technology to make sure that there is some form of mapping to take stock of actually all rental properties in Kenya. You'll actually note the monthly residential income tax was reduced from 10% to 7.5%, just to encourage a lot of uptake. Remember what we call the MRI, the monthly rental income tax, is basically for any residential properties whose annual turnover is less than 15 million shillings. So you can actually see the way the taxation regime is stratified. It also sort of tries to give cognizance to those smaller businesses that need to be encouraged.
Elsewhere, celebrities who earn a living from gambling and betting advertisement took their grievances to the head of special programs and creative economy, Dennis Itumbi, expressing their displeasure with the orders from the Betting Control and Licensing Board, which prohibited them from endorsing or promoting betting and gambling sites. Speaking in Nairobi during the discussions with the celebrities, Itumbi has explained that it was necessary to find a solution that will be amicable to everyone involved. He stated that the celebrities involved in gambling adverts were scheduled to have a sit-down with the Betting Control and Licensing Board on Wednesday in a bid to promote responsible advertising on betting and gambling sites.
There is a ban on using celebrities to advertise gambling. Yes. And that's partly to ensure that we are able to govern and able to ensure that gambling addiction does not happen. However, we would have a very good, insightful conversation where they have informed me on various strategies that can be used to help them to continue earning a living while at the same time addressing the menace that is gambling addiction. So we had a good meeting. From here on Wednesday, the content creators involved in gambling are going to be meeting BCLB, which is a betting regulation authority, and because government has decided to listen. So they're going to be meeting to listen and then see, as you are aware, we have a gambling bill that's going before Parliament for them to put in their input and also to participate in the development of the ad regulations that are being proposed.
Well, from business, let's get to the world of sports. Now, the second leg of the Sunshine Development Tour officially took off today at the Ruiru Sports Club, with a total of 105 players from 6 nationalities participating in the East African Swing Tournament. This comes after a successful opener at Thika Greens Golf Resort last week, which saw Njoroge Kibugu of Windsor Golf Hotel clinch the title after finishing on 15 under par and taking home Kenya shillings 400,000. Winners check The tournament featured a mix of men and women, both professionals and elite amateurs on the hunt for valuable officials. World Golf Ranking points, which offers a pathway to global golf opportunities. Elsewhere, the national men's and women's 3x3 basketball team failed to register a single win in Spot 6 of the currently ongoing FIBA 3x3 Nations League, Spot 6 held in Benin today. The men's team lost 18-4 in their first encounter against the Algerians before being dismantled 21-9 by Burkina Faso in the final game. Meanwhile, in the ladies category, the Lionesses suffered a narrow 14-13 loss to Uganda in a thrilling Now, world tennis star Carlos Alcaraz ensured he took home the coveted Roland Garros title.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Forget tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Forget is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
Ni Punet.
Punet.
So you guys knew about
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema, hata ungevi the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Here.
Well, that is it from me, Abubakar Abdullahi, on behalf of the entire team that made this production possible. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of our programs. 90 Plus is up next. Keep watching Kenya's fastest growing television. Good night. Tonight of all nights. God bless.